Okay, everyone, we are gonna recreate Vincent van Gogh's sunflowers. The materials that you need, you just need a piece of paper, a pencil with an eraser, and then whatever art supplies you have. I'm gonna use crayons, but if you have oil pastels or you have Sharpies or you have markers, you can totally use those. So you want your paper to be going vertically away from you. And the first thing that we're going to talk about is drawing a vase. So you're not going to draw this yet. I'm just going to show you some examples of vases and their shapes. Let me do that in Sharpie. Vases. Okay, so you can look around your house and you can see the types of vases or flower pots that inspire you. But typically speaking, there's kinds that are just a rectangle. That's one option. There's kinds that are round and then flat on the top. That's another option. There's ones that are kind of like diagonal. You could even do something that is diagonal and then round. So these are all choices. You can pick anything you like, or you can create your own. So I am going to pick that one. So I'm going to start with my vase, and I'm going to sketch it out lightly. And then I'm going to draw my table behind it. It's very simple. You just draw a line. Once you hit your vase, you're going to bump into the vase and you're going to jump over to the other side and continue your line. So it looks like your vase is in front of the edge of your table. Okay, and then from there, you're going to pick a few spots where you want your sunflowers to go, and you're just going to start with sketching out some circles. And you want them to be at different heights, you know, like a flower arrangement normally would be. So these are going to be the inner part of the flower. Then you need to draw the stems. So for the stems, you're going to do a curvy line and a curvy line. And you're going to do that for each of your stems. This one we can have going straight, maybe. We're going to curve. Fix this so it looks like it's going into the vase. There we go. So notice that right here, since this flower was going over this line, I just did the same thing where I bumped into it and I jumped over. This one right here. Okay, from here we're going to draw the petals. So you're going to start with one and you're just going to make little petal shapes that go all the way around your flower. Once you've done that, you're going to go in between each petal and draw a petal behind it. Kind of looks like a little triangle. Like so. And you can do it again if you want it to be even bigger. You just keep adding petals in between the petals. And then you're going to take your eraser and erase any stem lines that you see through it, so that the petals are in front of the stems. So I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep sketching out. And it's okay if you go right over your stem lines. That's why you're doing it in pencil, so that we can go back and fix it. So now, if you notice here, I need to erase the stems in those little areas so it looks like the flowers are in front of the stems. So I'm just going to go back in with my eraser and erase them out. Right there. See, does that make sense? Now it looks like this stem, this one, is behind that flower. Oops, sorry. This stem is behind that flower now because I erased the little bits where it crossed over. Okay, then from here you can add in some leaves if you want, if you have room. And like right here, I really packed it in, so I don't really have a lot of room for leaves. So I might skip it, or I might kind of throw one in that looks like it's behind the flowers. But it's up to you and however you drew your picture. Then you can go in and add in little seeds in the middle of your sunflowers. You can also add a pattern into your vase if you want. Up to you. Now, if you want to outline this in Sharpie, you can. You absolutely can. If you only have pencil and you don't have something to color with, you could also start shading in your flowers, like making this part a little darker, or using your actual pencil to create different textures and shading. You absolutely could do that. Or if you do have crayons, you're gonna start coloring it in. So what I suggest, let's say you start with your stems. you're gonna outline, you're gonna go right over your pencil line, dark, and then you're gonna color it in light. Outline dark, color it in light. Or you can go back in, or you could have outlined it in Sharpie if you prefer that method. It's up to you. Once you get to your sunflowers, you're going to color the inside part brown. And then your petals are going to be yellow. Oh, it's a really light yellow. I'm gonna pick a darker yellow. You can also kind of shade it using, say, an orange or another shade of yellow. And then you could outline your flower with a yellow marker, but I'm gonna go in with my Sharpie and I'm gonna outline with my Sharpie. So once you decide the method that works best for you, that's what you're gonna do for the rest of your picture. I definitely recommend outlining in Sharpie first if you're going to do that. If you don't wanna outline in Sharpie and you just wanna use markers and crayons, then that's up to you. So I'm just gonna keep going and keep coloring and outlining, and you do yours. I also definitely recommend that if you are outlining, then you go back and you erase your pencil lines just to make it nice and clean. if you want to go back in and shade it with other colors like orange or whatever, for this one, I shaded it along the middle and then along the edges. You could also just do it along the sides of some of the petals, like that. So I just picked a few sides to add some orange to kind of give it some shadows. And then for this one, I just colored in some of the petals. So this one I shaded the inside and the outside. This one I did lines in orange. And this one I picked entire petals to do orange. See how they're all a little different, but that's like what flowers look like. They're all a little different from each other. So I'm just gonna keep going, and you're gonna keep going at your own pace. So don't rush, take your time and color it at your rate, at your pace. Remember what we talked about, how I made the stem stop once you hit the flower, so now it looks like it's behind that other flower. That's exactly why we did that. So this flower, I'm shading just the outside part. This one, I'm doing just the inside part, but I'm gonna use two different colors. And I'm gonna show you again the flowers. So this one I shaded the inner part and the outside petals. This one I did lines. This one I shaded in just a couple of petals, orange. This one I did the inside section, but in two different shades of orange. And this one I just did the outside section on. So you can choose how you want to shade yours, but I would recommend doing them all like a little bit different from each other. And then we're almost done. For the background, you want to color in your table. And you could totally do this with watercolor very quickly, or you can color it in. I would suggest doing like maybe a brown to represent like a wood table. So I'm just gonna color it in lightly, super lightly, because in the Van Gogh series, the backgrounds were usually pretty faint. The focus was really on the flowers. So I'm just gonna lightly shade the background table with my brown. And then the background You can pick a different color. Van Gogh usually did like a light pale yellow or a light blue. So I'm gonna do a light blue. I feel like that will really make the flowers pop. And you just wanna kind of be careful and go behind your flowers. And in between them. But not over the top of them. And I'm going super quickly for the video, but again, you should take your time. You can watercolor this if you prefer. You could use oil pastels and then blend it out with your fingers or with a paper towel or tissue. And there you have it, your very own Van Gogh sunflower piece.